Hi everyone, my name is Einav, and today I'll present a study on how ketamine changes brain activity and how this relates to vigilance, meaning how awake or drowsy someone is. Ketamine has been shown to have rapid antidepressant effects, even in patients with treatment-resistant depression. However, despite the strong clinical effects, the exact mechanism through which ketamine works is still not fully understood. This study, by Zacharias et al., combines EEG and fMRI, allowing us to measure both brain activity and connectivity. This is important because most studies focus on only one of these tools. The study focuses on the default mode network, or DMN. This is a network in the brain that's active when we're at rest. For example, when we're thinking about ourselves or just mind wandering. You can think of it as the brain's default mode, when we are not focused on a specific task. Before moving on, it's important to understand how the DMN behaves in depression. In people with depression, the DMN is often overactive, especially in areas related to self-referential thinking. This means that people tend to engage more in internal thoughts, especially repetitive and negative ones. For example, increased connectivity in the DMN has been linked to rumination, which is a key feature of depression. Ketamine has been shown to rapidly reduce depressive symptoms, and some studies suggest it may do this by disturbing abnormal DMN activity. So one idea is that ketamine might break rigid patterns of negative self-processing in the DMN. Okay, a key issue is that the DMN is very sensitive to vigilance. Even small drops in alertness can change connectivity. In fact, about 1/3 of participants become less alert within minutes during scans. Accordingly, it is critical to assess the state of vigilance when conducting studies with fMRI, using drugs that are known to affect vigilance such as ketamine. Combining EEG and fMRI helps us to capture both brain activity and alertness more accurately. Okay, ketamine is known to affect both brain connectivity and vigilance. But the main question in this study is, are the changes that we see in the DMN under ketamine actually linked to changes in vigilance? Okay, let's talk about the method. The study used a within-subject crossover design. This means that each participant received both ketamine and placebo in different sessions. This is important because each person serves as their own control, which makes the comparison much more accurate. In addition, the study was double-blind, meaning that neither the participants nor the researchers knew whether ketamine or placebo was given in each session. This is important because it prevents bias. Okay, so we arrived to the results. In this slide, we can see how ketamine changes connectivity within the default mode network. Ketamine decreases connectivity in frontal regions and increases it in posterior regions. This suggests a shift in the balance of the network, from more frontal involvement to more posterior involvement. This is important because frontal areas are linked to self-related thinking. The EEG results show increased slow wave activity and reduced alpha activity under ketamine. This pattern suggests that participants became less alert and more drowsy. In fact, the overall EEG pattern under ketamine resembles a light sleep-like state. This is important because it shows that ketamine doesn't just affect brain connectivity, it also changes the overall state of consciousness. Now, the graphs that I am going to show you are really the key part of the paper. And they show that participants who become more drowsy under ketamine also showed stronger changes in the DMN connectivity. Okay, so each dot represents one participant. The x-axis shows changes in EEG, meaning changes in vigilance, and the y-axis shows changes in brain connectivity. What they're looking at here is whether these two things change together. And what they found is a clear relationship. The more a person became drowsy under ketamine, the more their brain connectivity and the DMN changed. Frontal connectivity is negatively related to EEG gamma and theta activity, while a positive relationship is found for parietal connectivity and EEG delta power. To sum up, ketamine changed both EEG activity and brain connectivity, and these changes are strongly related. This highlights the importance of considering vigilance in brain imaging studies. There are also a few limitations to this study. The sample size is relatively small, only healthy participants were included, and the results are only correlational, so we cannot draw causal conclusions. We can't say for sure what causes what, only that these changes are related. Overall, this study shows that changes in the brain connectivity may reflect changes in consciousness. Future research should replicate these findings in clinical populations, further explore the link between vigilance and brain connectivity, EEG and fMRI, and examine the longer-term effects of ketamine. Thank you very much.